Unit 5 is where our spreadsheets are really going to start to shine. We're going to go over all the different formatting tools that you have available to you. And a lot of times this is how people can tell the difference between people who know how to use Excel and who don't know how to use Excel. So my job with these videos is to make sure your workbooks look as nice as they possibly can. So let's get started. We're going to first start off with making this spreadsheet look a lot better than it is currently looking. I've got just again a list of some of my different employees in the northern region and the southern region at the bottom. I've got a title on there. Things look awfully plain, and I've got some funky stuff going on with A4, all sorts of just really ugly looking things in this spreadsheet. It's very plain, so let's make it look a little bit better. I'm going to start by describing the font group up here and the different basic things we can do that are quite simple, but they go a long way in improving the overall visual appeal of our spreadsheets. So the font group up here is going to hold a lot of those tools. You've got your font type up here, which is how our text looks, and you've got a lot to choose from in this list. You have the font size next to that. You can increase or decrease from the drop down, or you can just hit the increase or decrease buttons right next to that. You have your bold, italics, and underline buttons here. You've got your border controls, your fill controls, and also the text color right here. So let's see how some of these things work. I'm going to start first with A6 to H6, and that's the key. You always want to select the data that you're going to be changing before we make the adjustments. So I'm going from A6 to H6. I'm just clicking and dragging. I'm going to make these bold. So I'm going to click on the B. I can also do a Control B for my keyboard shortcut. So that changes it to bold and unbold. I'm going to go ahead and let's do maybe C6 to F6. These quarter headers, I'm going to make these italics as well. The shortcut for italics is Control I. And you probably guessed by now, the shortcut for underline is Control U on your keyboard. Good, so let's go up to our title A1 here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. So I want this to stand out. So I'm going to make this maybe a size 14, or maybe one more higher, size 16. And let's change the font to maybe a little bit stronger here. Let's go to maybe down to Arial Black. That's pretty bold. So that looks good. You can also change different values that are not in a contiguous range. Remember how we did non-contiguous range selection? So for example, maybe I want my A11 and maybe cells, let's do G4 and maybe H4 as well. Maybe I want these bold and italics. So I'm doing my Control Select, and that highlights again non-contiguous ranges. So that works as well when you're doing any formatting to different values. So I've got that changed. Maybe I want A2 italics, and maybe I'll underline that. Starting to look a little bit better. I can also change the format of any of these cells by going to my dialog box launcher, right? So let me just demonstrate real quick. If I go back to A2 and I open my dialog box launcher, that gives me access to some of the different options that aren't immediately accessible on the ribbon. Things like strike through, superscript, subscript. I've got a couple other tabs up here too. I can get into borders, fill, even protection, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But for anything you don't see that's immediately accessible on the ribbon, check out the dialog box launcher. That's another tool you can get into as well. So I'll hit OK. One other last thing that we can look at in terms of formatting your values is you can always right click on any one of your cells, and you'll see a little tiny tool bar that pops up. This is your mini toolbar, and from here you have some of the same tools on this as well that were on the ribbon previously. So I have, my font type here. I've got my font size. I've got different formatting tools. I have things like the color, the fill color, some paragraph tools. We're going to be getting into each and every one of these tools in a little bit, but for now you've got the basics. Things are starting to take shape. We're going to continue this throughout the other lessons in this unit as well.